Hey everybody, thanks for watching Sports Talk Mopars. Today's episode is long overdue. I'm finally taking this nasty ass gas tank, swapping it in for this guy. So this unit here is the latest and greatest from Amazon, believe it or not. I went to Summit trying to get a tank from Tanks, but they're like 45 days out. I don't have that kind of time. I ordered this on Friday. It is now Tuesday, and it's already at my house. Initial inspection, it looks pretty decent. I mean, I do like the fact that it's got the gel coat on it. I did get the sending unit as well. Right off the bat, I'd see that this sending unit's got a breather tube, which the OE one does not. I may just plug that guy, but oh well. At least I've got a new unit, so maybe I'll actually have a working gas gauge. Oh, and one last thing, I'm actually going to be relocating that guy right next to that brand new tank. You know, these are good at pushing, not pulling. So it's gonna go right underneath the car like it should have originally. All right, now if you've ever dropped one of these, it's super easy. Just make sure that it's not full when you start this. So take it for a cruise around the block or do whatever you gotta do to get it down as low as possible. Once it's almost empty or close to it, jack the car up beneath here. You've got your two straps right here. This is a 9/16. Here and here, only two of them, super easy. Before you start taking those off though, you're gonna want to disconnect the fuel line as well as the sending unit. And that's right here. As you can see, pretty easy. I'll just disconnect this. Okay, that's off there. And this is a simple hose clamp, so I'll undo that, pull the hose off, and then I can work on the straps. All right, with the tank out of the way, I can really get an idea for where I'm gonna mount this fuel pump. The tank sits right here. You can see it pretty much sits flush against the floor pan. This is the strap for the tank, so this fuel line really kind of tucks in the corner that's not used. So I'd love to put the fuel pump right here, but there's no room. Tracing it down, goes over there. Even comes up right here. I'm probably gonna put it right there. So there's a nice flat spot. I can mount it to the floor. It's easily accessible. It's a straight hard line, so I can cut that hard line out, plumb in the fuel pump, and maybe use that hard line up near the engine bay. It's not the perfect location, but it's on the back half of the car. It would allow me to swap it out if needed because it's right there. Plus, I mean, it is still in the back half of the car, so it's going to be pushing more than pulling. Way better than up on the inner fender. All right, now this fuel sending unit actually has a breather I mentioned earlier, right? All it does is essentially come loop in with an open end inside the tank. I don't need this. This is just going to cause me problems. So my solution to this is some good old-fashioned Permatex. Now I'm going to seal this from the inside of the tank. Basically just squirting as much of that in there as I can. All right, now that this has been sitting for a while, it's time to go ahead and install it. Nothing fancy, just a little bit of a ballet act to get it in. Once I've got it in like that, go ahead and throw the gasket around it. Gasket goes around the edge just like this. You'll even see this little tab. This tab right here holds the gasket in place so that it doesn't slide down on you when you're installing it. Okay, now that that's in, go ahead and push this forward. Finally, the locking key. Now with this, I just use a screwdriver. Basically, you have to just wedge it in between. That lets you turn. Or you could just push it. Whichever works for you. All right, now I'm gonna take the filler neck gasket. This was off the old tank, but it's in pretty good shape. Still has a lot of elasticity to it. So I'm gonna throw it back in this new tank. All right, now before I install that new gas tank, I want to take advantage of the time when the system is drained and move this fuel pump. Okay, so I'm underneath the passenger side door. This is where I'm going to mount the fuel pump. You can see some of the holes here. This is actually just some rust, but I did drill the holes for the pump already. So basically it's going to mount right here, just like so. This is a straight piece of fuel line. So I'll cut the fuel line way back here just so I don't have a crazy angle for the hose to dog leg for the pump. Had I not had the torque boxes that you see here, convertibles all came with torque boxes, convertibles and heavy cars. If I didn't have this torque box, I would have probably tried to push this back a little bit. But torque box has taken up some valuable real estate, so straight to the floor it goes. Okay, so I've got the fuel pump mounted underneath the car. Negatives should run straight to the frame there, but now I've got to give it some power. Now the last owner that installed the fuel pump right here on the fender, they just utilized the positive side of the coil to feed power to the pump. I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna get rid of this mess and run a brand new wire. All right, so I've got this wire connected. Now I'm going to use God's gift to the mechanic and make sure it's secured all the way up to the coil. Okay, so I think I've got it ready to fire up. I wired the positive for the fuel pump, which is mounted underneath the passenger side. It's that orange wire you see there going to the coil. I just tucked it down in there, put some chafing gear on that edge, but I think it's pretty good. See if I can actually get this thing to fire up. Here we go.